Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the KBR Show. This is yours truly, King Buddy Ray, coming back to you. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It is Tuesday. Hope you're enjoying this warmer weather in the 50s. It really feels like 100 if you go outside. I went outside. I was on a phone call earlier for work, and for about an hour, and I just went outside, walked around, and I got a little hot. I came back in mid-walk and changed into some lighter clothes because it was hot outside. But we have a lot to catch up on. Sorry I didn't post anything on Monday with my work schedule and my basketball officiating schedule this week. Tuesdays, Thursday, and Saturday just worked a little better with that. So that's what we're doing. And we have a lot to catch back up on in the sports world. Got some positive thoughts to throw at you, a Bible verse, and all the things. We had the Super Bowl. We had a big weekend in college basketball. A big start to the week in college basketball yesterday. We'll get into that later. And the Olympics has started. The NBA is in full swing after the trade deadline. Lots of things happening in the sports world. Very, very busy weekend. I myself stayed home for the Super Bowl. Just me watching it at the house. It was very fun. I'm a big defensive guy, so I had fun. But if you're not a defensive guy, you didn't like that game. But it was a good game nonetheless. Good commercials. I'm not big into drinking alcohol. I had alcohol on my 21st birthday. That's it. But the beer commercials are funny, especially the Mick Ultra one. So very funny there. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. Let me know what your favorite commercial was. All around, good Super Bowl Sunday there. We'll get into that. And then, obviously, we'll do our positive thought of the day, Bible verse of the day, and possibly a question of the day, depending on some time. We got a lot to dissect in the sports world. And we'll start with the Super Bowl. Battle of the Revenge Tour for Mr. Darnold. Second straight season winning 14-plus games. After the Vikings let him walk in free agency, the Seahawks took a risk on him, and it paid off. They made it to the Super Bowl. Would Drake May win the first Super Bowl for the Patriots without Tom Brady? Rematch of the 2014 Super Bowl 10 years ago. Super Bowl 50. Or 12 years ago. Bad math. Super Bowl 48. Battle of the top defenses. Seahawks number 1. Patriots number 7. It ended up being a defensive game. I predicted a score of 37-31. I was way wrong. But I was okay with that. We started Seattle getting the ball. Seattle puts up a field goal. Runs the ball down the field but couldn't put it in for 6. Gets a field goal. Pats come out, 4 plays. They punt the ball. But the Seahawks give it right back to them with another 3 and out themselves. Patriots punt the ball. Seahawks punt the ball. Into the first quarter, 3-0. You're really thinking, okay, a lot of punts. Punter's going to be busy. It's going to be a field goal game. Going to be a game of field position. The Patriots punter, even in the first quarter, did a really good job not giving Rashid Shaheed any time to field the ball and change the game on the field position. Because that's the thing with a lot of these games like this. Your kick returns can be very key, and the punters did not allow that to happen for either. Patriots get the ball in the second to start the second, 3 and out. Seahawks get the ball after that, field goal on their drive. Patriots get the ball back, another 3 and out. Not too good there. Seahawks get the ball, but punt it back to them. Patriots back and forth there. Seahawks in the half with a field goal. With 2 field goals, my apologies. And in the half, up 9-0. The Patriots in the first had 5 drives and 5 punts, only 47 yards of total offense, 2 3 and outs for them. The Seahawks defense, we knew, was going to be a big dividend in this game. We didn't know this big. 47 yards of total offense, only 9 yards of rushing in the first half for the Patriots. The Seahawks could just tee off. Send 3 or 4, send a blitz here and there from the corner or from the safety position, and they did. They sacked and pressured Drake May a ton. They had 6 total sacks in the whole game. 3 of them coming in the first half, 3 of them coming in the second half. And they just teed off. Drake May just couldn't get rid of the ball. Took some sacks, took some hits. That was really the difference in the first half. Even Darnold was pressured, but they didn't sack him in the first half. He was able to throw the ball away. He was able to dump the ball off to his receiver or running back on the out routes. He was able to get rid of the ball, and that was the big difference with Sam Darnold from even just the regular season to the postseason. He was able to get rid of the ball, and especially from last year to this year, he was very able to get rid of the ball and not throw it away and not throw a pick instead of throwing it away and taking a sack. He was able to get rid of the ball. That was the biggest difference in the first half, especially there. Hawks didn't really move the ball that much either. They had some big runs from Kenneth Walker. At this point in the game, you're thinking MVPs, Jake Myers. He's 3 of 3. Has all 9 points to himself. That was really the biggest difference was Kenneth Walker in the kicking game of the Seahawks. Patriots start with the ball in the second half, Start with the ball in the second half. 3 and out. It's their third straight 3 and out. If you're Mike Vrabel, you are not happy. Seahawks get the ball. First drive of the second half, field goal. They a lot of times got the ball inside the 30 and just stumbled. They just couldn't do anything else with it in the first 2.5 quarters. Not really good. Darnold had a big run for that first drive in the second half, 16-yard run on third down to extend the drive, but just couldn't get the touchdown pass or hand the ball off to get the touchdown as well. Patriots get the ball back. They got to score. They're down 12-0. They're down 2 possessions at this point. But guess what? Another 3 and out. But the Seahawks give it right back to them with another 3 and out after that. But the Patriots, again, for the 4th straight time, get a 3 and out there. But guess what? If you like defense, another 3 and out. You had 4 straight 3 and outs, 2 from both teams here in the middle of the third quarter. It was nuts. But it was good defense. It wasn't bad offense. That was the thing. I was enjoying it. But the Patriots eventually, after these 4 3 and outs, do get the ball. They're starting to drive a little bit. They got the ball near midfield, but guess what? Seahawks defense makes a play. First defensive turnover of the game at the 40-yard line to start the fourth quarter. That's where the Seahawks start the fourth quarter off a turnover, off the fumble from Drake May, and that leads to a touchdown pass from Sam Darnold to the tight end of Barner for the Seahawks, and the Seahawks take a 19-0 lead. And at this point, you're like, Patriots haven't been able to move the ball. This game over. Dang. Are we going to get a touchdown from the Pats? The Pats responded real quick with a 3-play drive on a touchdown pass from Drake May to Mac Hollins. Back-to-back passes to him for 25-plus yards to make the score 19-7. And the Seahawks give it right back to him, so they get a chance. Seahawks give it right back to him after the Patriots score that touchdown. But Drake May throws a pick down the middle of the field. A really risky pass. Didn't really need it at this moment in time. So the Seahawks get the ball on the Patriots side of the field, get a field goal. And then the Patriots get the ball back down 22-7 at this point. What do the Patriots do? They throw another pick. But this time it's a pick 6. That's what it went down for in the stat book. But if you remember this play, it was the sack where he kind of rolled over, threw the ball up in the air. Defensive lineman from Seattle gets it, takes it, and runs it. It wasn't really a legit throw, in my opinion. I would have strip sack. But the official score there, and this was not really big for the amount of sacks in this game. The official score was a pick 6 on that. So it went from 7 sacks the whole game for the Seahawks to 6 sacks the whole game for the Seahawks, which tied the record instead of gave them the record. So that ended up being a big storekeeper there. The Patriots did end up scoring 2 touchdowns late in the game. One off a pass through Rashard Stevenson out of the backfield, and then obviously the one earlier in the fourth quarter to Mac Hollins. So they did score 2 touchdowns, but it was not enough. The Patriots ran out the clock as clock expires, and the final score was 29-13 in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. They get it done. Second-year head coach Mike Macdonald and Sam Darnold and the 12th man LOB, Legion of Boom, get it done for Seattle. Some final stats to look at for the game. Drake May actually had more yards than Sam Darnold. Got a lot of these late, though. He was 27 of 43 for 295 yards, really running for his life the whole time back there in the backfield. How he got 290. I looked at the stat sheet on ESPN at the end of the game. I was like, he had 295? I was thinking like 180, 200 maybe? But he had 295, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. One of them ended up being real big. Sacked 6 times. His QBR was 16.3, and that's quarterback rating. And for those of you that do not know what that is, it's how you rate a quarterback on how they play. Pretty much there's a lot of analytics that go into that and a lot of numbers. But your average QBR this year for a quarterback was 62.3. So 16.3 is bad. Lower is worse. Higher is better. So very bad QBR there. Only 79 rushing yards. And that was really the biggest difference, in my opinion, for the game. You didn't have any rushing yards. You had no rushing attack if you're the Patriots. So the Seahawks could just sit back 7-8 deep and tee off on the pass rush and make Drake May find a hole in that zone that he could not do really until it was just too late. It was 29-7 or 29-13 at this point when he started to find the holes in the defense. It was just too late. Too little too late. And that was really the difference, though, was that rushing attack for the Patriots compared to the Seahawks. The Patriots was bad. The Seahawks was decent. And you could just tee off on Drake May, send a blitz every now and again, and they did. They had 6 sacks, obviously, and it worked. Only 79 rushing yards for the Patriots, and Drake May led the way with those for running for his life. He ran way more than 37 yards for the amount of yards that he got, but 37 yards on the book with 5 carries. Stevenson had 7 for 23. Not a good night there. Receiving, Mac Hollins led the way with 4 receptions for 78 yards. 60 of those were on one drive on that first touchdown for the Patriots. Stephon Diggs didn't really have that big of a game. He had 3 for 37, and 2 of those were just little dump-offs where May just chucked it to him and said, please catch this thing. Defense. Seahawks obviously led the way, but Christian Gonzalez, the safety for the Patriots, he had 4 tackles, or not 4 tackles. He had 8 tackles and 4 pass breakups. And 3 of those pass breakups probably would have been touchdowns. Very big. He really kept this game a lot closer than probably what it should have been. So Christian Gonzalez had a big game. Craig Woodson led the way with 10 tackles for the Patriots. Drake May got sacked 25 times this postseason, most by any quarterback in NFL history. Broke the record back from 2021 when Joe Burrow was running for his life in the Bengals, and when they lost big to the who did they lose to that year? The Bucks in the Super Bowl that year, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm just going off the rip here for that one. The Seahawks and Sam Darnold was 19-38 for 202 yards with 1 touchdown with a QBR of 53, so much better. Still not that good, but much better than Drake May there. Biggest difference, as we talked about a few moments ago, running. Mr. Kenneth Walker, running back from Michigan State, the Spartan, had 27 carries for 135 yards, and he was the Super Bowl MVP. Speaking of Super Bowl MVPs, wide receiver Cooper Kupp led the way with 6 catches for 61 yards. He was Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 56 4 years ago. Jackson Smith-Njigba was kind of held under wraps most of the game, really by Christian Gonzalez a lot. He kind of followed him around. He had 4 for 27 yards, 4 receptions, really held in check there. Defense, they just teed off. 6 sacks, 1 fumble, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 1 interception, depending on who you are, but the official scorebook had 1 fumble, 2 picks. Ernest Jones led the way with 11 tackles. Both teams were busy on the kicking end of things. Jake Myers started and had 5 of 5, made all his field goals. Patriots punter, Super Bowl record, 8 punts. Seahawks punter was a little busy too. He put the ball inside the 20 3 times, and 2 of those 3 times was inside the 5. One was really late when the game was teeter-tottering a little bit. It was like, oh, Seahawks, but he's better get this punt off. If they block it, Patriots are only down 10, or it would have been 12, sorry. It would have been 12, and he punted it, and it went inside the 2. And he punted it so quick. I don't know if you remember that play, but I remember that play very vividly. My final thoughts, as always, every single game in the Super Bowl, defense wins championships at this time of year. That's what happens. You had 8 punts from the Patriots. You had 5 3-and-outs. You had 3 of them straight in the second half, and that was really the big difference here. And the other big difference was the quarterbacks. Darnold under pressure, he got the ball away. Drake May did not. He got sacked. And that was the biggest difference there. Both defenses played lights out. Both defenses played very well. But Darnold was able to get away from the pressure more than what Drake May could and got rid of the ball instead of taking the sack or making the stupid throw, stupid decisions. Darnold used to do it, but he's done a lot better with it. The Seahawks had 6 sacks to 1 sack for the Patriots. That was the biggest difference. Way too early rankings for next year, guys. For next season. The Seahawks are ranked power rankings for number 1. Patriots number 2. Rams number 3 going into next year. Denver, they have a healthy Bo Nix, will be in the 4. Bills with their new head coach. The 49ers, can they stay healthy? They did pretty well this past year without staying healthy. You got the Lions, will they need help on the O-line? You got the Eagles, hopefully they can unlock their offense with the new offensive coordinator. The Jags had a great year this year. They come in at number 9. They just need some pass rush help. And the Packers, they got to build on what they have a little bit. They got Micah Parsons. They've got Jordan Love. Can he kind of be a Sam Darnold and take that step? He had a good year this year, just like Darnold had last year. Can he make that step? We shall see. My early picks for the Super Bowl, you're going to have to wait on that one. We got a lot to talk about in today's show. I'll probably do that later this week, maybe sometime next week. We will see. But that is it for football this season until later this summer around Labor Day. So football is over. You baseball fans, it's baseball season. We know what it means. Spring training starts later this month. Lord Baseball Classic at the beginning of March. Very fun. Baseball is my go-to. I like all sports, but baseball is my go-to if I had to pick just one. Mainly, I enjoy playing it. I enjoy watching it. I announce for it. So, I just love baseball. That's just my number 1 sport there. But hope you guys had a wonderful Super Bowl get-together, no matter where you were. Hope you had some good food with some friends, had some good times, whether you watched the halftime show or not. Hope you enjoyed yourself. We need to not hate each other on this racial, Hispanic, whatever. I don't even try to get into it because it just confuses the living daylights out of me. But we need to remember 2 things. Don't hate. Jesus loves everyone. And we need to act like Jesus and love everyone the same. Whether they're Hispanic, whether they're white, black, or yellow. No matter where they came from. We need to love one another like Jesus did. We'll get into more of positive thought and Bible stuff later. But this takes us to the NBA. Trade deadline is over. Load management time. Tanking time. New faces or same faces in new places. My apologies. I said that backwards. But NBA was busy this past weekend. On Friday, Battle of the East. The Detroit Pistons welcome in the New York Knicks. Could the Knicks extend their winning streak to 9? Would the Pistons hold off and remain the number 1 seed and show their dominance of why they're the number 1 seed in the Palace? They did. They won 118-80 against the New York Knicks. The Knicks did not play with OG Anunoby and Karl Anthony Towns. I don't think it would have made that big of a difference, but I am going to note that because load management and injuries are a part of the thing, especially this time of year. Right around April is when you start to see load management for the teams that are good. they start to play, so then they start to get hot. Clippers get their first win without Harden. They beat the Kings on Friday evening, 114-111. And then we transition to Saturday here. Big game in the evening. Rockets in Oklahoma City. No SGA, no Jalen Williams for the Thunder. No Amin Thompson and their defensive monster. Point guard for the Rockets. So who's going to run point guard? Amin Thompson's kind of been their point guard this year. It's kind of a team effort between Tari Eason, Şengün, Reed Shepherd off the bench, and Kevin Durant. The Rockets come out on top 112-106. Speaking of Tari Eason, he led the way for the Rockets with 26 points. Alfred Şengün had a triple-double, 17 points, 11 assists, and 12 boards. Cason Wallace led the way for the Thunder with 23 points. To cap off Saturday evening in L.A., the Los Angeles Lakers welcome in the Golden State Warriors. There was no Luka Doncic in this game and no Steph Curry, no Jimmy Butler, but he's been out for a while now. He's out for the rest of the year. Luka and Steph are supposed to return sometime after the All-Star break. The Lakers ended up winning this one, 105-99. Mr. Luke Kennard, ex-Duke Blue Devil from college, where's he been? Ex-Atlanta Hawk himself, he played for the Memphis Grizzlies as well. His first game in the blue and gold for LA, he came out with 10 points on 4 of 7 shooting in 20 minutes, and he had some big defensive stops late in that game. So awesome to see that. I think when you start to get Luka back, really spread the floor with Luke Kennard, opens up the middle of the floor for Luka and LeBron a little bit. Should be very dividend. And it was good to see his defense because they need help on the defensive end very bad. The Warriors were led by Moses Moody with 25 points, but it was not enough as the Warriors lose by 6 in LA. Now we transition to Sunday in the NBA. Can the Knicks bounce back in Boston, or do they lose a second in a row? No, they would not. They would win 111-89 in Boston to take down the Boston Celtics. Jalen Brunson led the way on Sunday with 31 points. Very balanced scoring again. Back to it for the New York Knicks, 6 players in double figures. Boston was led by Jaylen Brown with 26. And then the Clippers on Sunday win their second of a back-to-back against the Minnesota Timberwolves, 115-96. This takes us now into Monday, last night in the NBA. In LA, the Lakers welcome in the Thunder. No Luka, no SGA. Jalen Williams is back, and he led the way for the Thunder with 23 points. And the Thunder take the win, 119-110 in LA. They had 6 players in double figures. The Lakers were led by the old man, LeBron James, with 22 points, 6 boards, and 10 assists. So he had a double-double. It was not enough, though, as Jalen Williams and the Thunder come out of LA with a win and remain atop of the West, 119-110. Mr. James Harden, his second game in a Cavs uniform. They win again on Monday evening in Denver, and they win by 2, 119-117. Mr. Harden had 22 points. Spidey Donovan Mitchell had 32 points, and Jared Allen, big man down low for the Cavs, had 22 points. Denver had 3 players in double figures, or 3 players with 20 plus as well. Julian Strother had 22. Christian Brown had 24, and Nikola Jokic had 21, but it was not enough. It was a close game, back and forth. But James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, and the boys from the land up in Cleveland went to the Mile High City and beat the Denver Nuggets 119-117. Looking ahead in the NBA for Tuesday and Wednesday, we got Clippers in Houston. Both nights, the Los Angeles Clippers play back-to-back games against the Houston Rockets, both of them in Houston. The Lakers come back tonight and welcome in the San Antonio Spurs, second game in a row for them. The Mavs travel to Phoenix to take on the Phoenix Suns. Then tomorrow, we're looking at the New York Knicks traveling to Philly to play the Philadelphia 76ers. As again, the Clippers and Rockets again play. And then the Thunder play tomorrow at Phoenix. And then the Spurs play their second of a back-to-back tomorrow in Golden State to take on the Warriors. And James Harden will play his first home game for the Cleveland Cavaliers at home against the Washington Wizards tomorrow in Cleveland. Very good set of games the next 2 days for the NBA. It's starting to creep up a little bit. And then they go on the All-Star break this weekend, kind of get a rest, and then it really takes off, the NBA. This is where you start to see the load management start to fall off. You get to see the teams that want to tank start to tank, but it's not as many. And then the load management for your teams in the playoff hunt goes away, and you see everyone start to play. So the competition gets a lot better there. But now to college basketball on the hardwood. We did have a big game on Friday at Madison Square Garden, but it was not an NBA game. It was St. John's versus UConn. Rick Pitino and St. John's beat Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies again for the third straight time at Madison Square Garden, 81-72, handing the UConn Huskies their second loss of the season. Texas on the Saturday, big time Saturday. We had a lot of big matchups going into this game. We had some top tens. We had arguably the best rivalry in all of sports. In my opinion, it is the best rivalry in all of sports. And I'm not biased because I'm also a Yankees fan. You can't say it's because I'm a UNC fan. And a lot of people think that the Yankees or Red Sox is the biggest rivalry. I think that's the biggest baseball one. But I don't think it's the biggest one of all sports. I think it is this UNC Duke one. But we'll get into that in a minute. It started at noon with UVA welcoming in Syracuse. The Orange came out of UVA a little bit behind, and they lost 72-59 to UVA. UVA continues their win streak of 5 in a row since losing to the Tar Heels at home. Had a big middle game window, and I was watching this one live, and I was like, I got some time to kill. I had just finished reading the book, and I was like, I got some time to kill before this UNC game. Let's watch this Vanderbilt game. I click it, and there's 3.5 minutes left. And Vandy's down 20. I'm like, well, all these other games are at halftime, so let's watch it. Vandy was down 20 with 3 minutes to go and ends up coming back. Has a chance to take the lead, but turns the ball over, and Oklahoma ends up winning. Vandy hits a 3-point half-court shot late, but they were down 4, so it was too little too late. They lost 92-91 at home against the Oklahoma Sooners. The Oklahoma Sooners win their first game against a top 25 seed this season, but it does not look as bad. You look 3 minutes earlier in this game, that game could have really hurt Vanderbilt losing by 20. And late seeding talks, Vandy's definitely going to make the tournament, but they only lost by 1. But Tyler Tanner had a game, man. He was very big on the press late in the game as well. They had 37. Vandy started the press. Maybe they should have pressed more, Mike Byington. But great job coming back. It was one of the best comebacks that didn't get completed that I've seen in a while. So Tyler Tanner for the Commodores had 37. And then you had number 1 Arizona right before the UNC game. Would they be upset before their matchup on Monday against Kansas? No, they would not. They beat the Oklahoma State Cowboys 84-47. Miami of Ohio, the other unbeaten team in all of the country, was in Huntington to take on the Herd from Marshall, and they won big 90-74. The Gonzaga Bulldogs, after taking an L earlier in the week, they beat the Oregon State Beavers 81-61 on the road in Oregon State. Now, a top 10 matchup. Top 10 upset incoming? Yes, it would be. Number 5, the Fighting Illini from Illinois would lose in overtime to the Michigan State Spartans in East Lansing, 85-82. Stat of the game here, Marcus Fears, sophomore guard, leading the way for the Spartans with 26 points and 15 assists. The first Big Ten athlete ever to have 25 points and 15 assists or more. First Big Ten athlete to do it, which is very shocking because the Big Ten's produced some good guards. D'Angelo Russell, Magic Johnson, just to name a few. That was very shocking to me. That was the first time for that. But, hey, that's what happened. Now, after the UNC game, before we get into that, we had Kentucky and Tennessee. Tennessee was up big again in the first half, but they were up big in the first half in this first matchup and lost. And guess what? They did it again. They blew another 20-point lead against the Wildcats from Kentucky, and the Wildcats at home this time win 74-71 against the Tennessee Volunteers. Now that takes us to 6:30 Eastern Time. Big game. Number 4, Duke at the Dean Dome against number 14, North Carolina. Is it the best rivalry in sports? Battle of the freshmen. Wilson, he had a lot to play for in this game because a lot of people have him at number 4, which I think they have him at number, I think any of the 4 are interchangeable here. But my number 1 is Cam Boozer. Personally, if I was to name the number 4, it'd be Cam Boozer, AJ Batanza, Caleb Wilson, Darren Peterson. And Darren Peterson is only number 4 because his health. But we'll get into that another day. But Caleb Wilson also had motivation here because he was recruited by everyone in the country, really. But when Duke was recruiting him, they talked to him once, and then they stopped. And this was even before he signed the deal with UNC. It's not like he signed the deal with UNC, and then they stopped. They stopped before that. So his motivation, okay, you don't want to talk to me? You don't want to recruit me? Motivation for him. He leads the way in the country with 66 dunks, 11 double-doubles. UNC freshman record, 16 games with 20-plus points. Rivalry or Tobacco Road here, guys. 88th ranked matchup between these two schools, which is 47 more times than any other matchup in the ranks, which is nuts. That is just crazy alone. You have Tobacco Road, you have UNC with 6 titles, Duke with 55, you have UNC with 21 Final Four appearances, Duke with 18. I don't see how you get much better of that in a matchup. This game always delivers. What it delivered on Saturday, it sure did. Duke came out to an early lead, to kind of threw a sucker punch right at the Tar Heels, right in the face. But they gave the ball to their freshman stud, Caleb Wilson, and said, get me buckets, get me points, and he did in the first half. He had 17 points in the first half, and they weren't easy shots. They were all over Malik Brown or Cam Boozer and long-arm defenders, always with a hand in his face, and a lot of times even fading away from the basket. Duke did end the first half on a 12-2 run to take a 12-point lead into the half, but Duke was in foul trouble. You had Cam Boozer with 2 fouls in the first half. You had Malik Brown with 3 in the first half. You had Matthew Gumbo with 3 in the first half. Would it play dividends in the second half? We shall see. Patrick Gumbo did foul out in the second half. And before we get into the second half and how that went a little bit, the fouls in the second half, and I was shocked. I was checking this during that final timeout, and it was 6 fouls for Duke and 1 foul for Carolina. I was like, oh gosh, we've only had 7 fouls this second half. I thought the game was way more physical and there was more fouls, but I just wasn't really keeping track. The game was so good there. Caleb Wilson did slow down in the second half, but Henry Vessar really stepped up in the second half, had 13 points in the whole game, had all 13 of those in the second half. He was big in the second half. Boozer was kind of held in check in the first half, but he really got it going in the second half as well. And then you couldn't ask for a better ending. Whether you're a Duke fan or whether you're a Carolina fan, even if the roles were reversed and Duke had the ball and it was Caden Boozer that hit the shot or Austin Rivers that hit the shot when this happened, 11 years ago I think it was. Don't hold me to that number, but just shooting from the hip here. You couldn't ask for a better ending to this ballgame. Carolina has the ball, top of the key, 10 seconds left. Dribbles a little bit, sets a screen, kicks the ball out to the corner to a wide open Seth Trimble. He drains the 3, wins the game. I'm watching the game live in my living room, and I'm like, uh-oh, there's time left on the clock. And I look at the TV again. I was like, there's people on the court. I knew there was time on the clock. The announcers didn't even know there was time on the clock. I was like, there's time on the clock because for those of you that don't know, late in basketball, it's not the clock continues to run. Under 2 minutes, when the ball goes through the basket, the clock stops. The ball went through the basket with 0.4 left. They had this, you couldn't see the court. They had to get on the speakers and tell these fans to get off the court as quick as they got on it. And they did. And then Duke ended up not making a last second heave. They put .4 back on the clock. Duke inbounded the ball, couldn't do anything with it. Storm court happened again, and Carolina wins. Only leading, they didn't have a lead the entire game until that final shot. So only led for a final of .4 seconds for Duke. Cameron Boozer led the way with 24 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, but 4 turnovers, and all of them were really timely. He had 4 turnovers there. Dame Sarr had 13 points on 5 or 6 shooting. Some of them were 3s, some of them were 2s, and they were all really close to being 3s. His foot was on the line a couple of times, but he was very efficient on 5 or 6 with 13 points. Mr. Wilson, he played all 40 minutes for the Tar Heels, led the way with 23 points on 8 or 12, shooting with 4 boards. Henry Vesar had 13 all in the second half. He had a double-double as well, 13 points, 11 boards. Mr. Trimble, Mr. Big Shot, had 16 points on 5 of setting shooting. The game delivered. Whether you're a Tar Heel fan, whether you're a Duke fan, you were happy with the outcome of this game because the game delivered. It was a good game, an entertaining game, and the game always lives up to the matchup. No matter how good or how bad either team is, it lives up to the hype. Can't wait till the next matchup in March, on March 7th or 8th. It's a Saturday. Last Saturday for college ball in March. Let me just pull up my calendar right now because I'm kind of interested what day in March it is too. I think it's 7th because my birthday is on the 15th, which is a Sunday. And we are correct. March 7th it is. So on March 7th, that is a rematch at Cameron Indoor this time at Duke. So, but to end the night on Saturday evening, BYU, will their struggles continue in the Big 12 against your big-time competitors like Kansas, your big-time competitors like Arizona? Houston was in town this time, and it would continue. They lost to Houston 77-66. AJ Batanza did play well. He had 28 points. They're on a 4-game skid currently. Houston wins again and remains atop of the league with Arizona. Their only loss in conference play coming to Texas Tech. BYU falls to 5-5 in the Big 12. That takes us to the matchup of the day on Big Monday yesterday. Undefeated Arizona. No Darren Peterson. Uh-oh. Is Kansas in trouble? Are they going to go down? Nope. Bill Self says, no sir. Allen Fieldhouse and the fans help the Kansas Jayhawks take down the number 1 team in all the land, 82-78. Big defense late from the big man for Kansas underneath. Big rim protection late. The Jayhawks win without their big freshman, Darren Peterson. He was sick with the flu. No load management or no injury this time. It was a flu. But the Jayhawks come out on top and hand the Arizona Wildcats their first loss of the year, 82-78 on Big Monday. So the only unbeaten team left in all of college basketball is Miami of Ohio. Now, real quick, in women's basketball, LSU and Kim Mulkey win big again, 77-44. South Carolina, Dawn Staley welcome in the Tennessee Volunteers in number 19, and Dawn Staley had her girls ready to play. They win big here by 43, 93-50 for the Gamecocks. UCLA survives in Michigan. It was a number 8 versus number 2. Number 2 seed UCLA survives at number 8 seed in Michigan by 3. TCU on the road at Colorado gets upset by the Buffaloes, 80-79 in Colorado. We had 2 big ones last night in women's college basketball, which is not normal for a Monday, so I kind of enjoyed that. Vanderbilt wins big at home against the Oklahoma Sooners. That was a top 10 matchup. Number 5 Vandy against number 10 Oklahoma. The Commodores come out on top 102-86. Mr. Kenny Brooks, Mr. Duke himself in Kentucky leading the way for the Wildcats, but they're in Texas last night and lose 64-53. The Wildcats and Kenny Brooks continue to struggle in SEC play. They're 5-6 on the year in SEC play. Look ahead for college basketball the next few days. Vanderbilt tries to avenge their loss to the Sooners and try to bounce back tonight against the Auburn Tigers. BYU travels to Baylor and tries to get back on track after losing 4 in a row. The Fighting Illini, off their loss against Michigan State, will be at home against the Wisconsin Badgers. Houston will travel to Utah this evening. Both UNC and Duke will both be on the road this evening after their big matchup this past weekend. Duke will be at Pitt, and UNC will be at Miami. Women's college basketball for you on Wednesday will be a good one. A top 13 matchup. UCLA will stay in Michigan. Will be at Michigan State this time. The 2-seeded UCLA Bruins against the 13th seeded Michigan State Spartans. And then undefeated UConn will be at home tomorrow against the Creighton Blue Jays. Local sports was also busy this past week and going to be busy this week as well. TA comes out of the second half on Friday, and I was at this game because I was officiating the JV game, so I just stayed. My parents were there, so they came and watched me for the first game. Why you want to come watch me official? I don't know, but thanks, Mother. Thanks, Fred. Love you guys. Long time for that, but I stayed and watched the varsity game with them. TA came out of the second half down 9, and then Rocktown came out on an 11-0 run in the first 2 minutes, and TA's down 20, and we both look at each other. My parents don't like blowouts. They were about to leave. I'm like, don't leave. TA could come back, and TA did. They sent it to overtime. They sent it to a second overtime, but fell short to Rocktown in 2 overtime. Strasburg was in Luray on Friday evening, and Strasburg takes care of the Luray Bulldogs and hold on to sole possession of second place and tied for first place against the Central Falcons. And they both end their season. So if they can win out, if the Falcons can win out from Central and the Bulldogs of Strasburg can win out, the last game of the year between the two of them could be a good one. TA tonight will be at Fort Defiance High School. Spotswood will be at William Monroe. Broadway will be at Rocktown. And we got some big games on Friday. I could not find all of those, so sorry about that. Playoffs start next week. For regionals next week, lots of big games this week, and next week should be fun. Before we get into our question of the day, let's look at the Olympic medal count. We're just barely into the Olympics. Norway leads the way with 12 medals. Italy's right behind them, the host country, with 11 medals. Japan's with 8, and then us, the United States of America, with 7. Still lots to happen in the Olympics. If you're a big Olympics fan, tune in to NBC. They do show them late night. They're reruns, but they do show them late night. Or if you're a morning person like myself and don't mind getting up early, they do start at about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. If you're big into that, gives you something to do before you go to work in the morning. That's what I do. But that's just me. Now, question of the day. Which NFL team has the most to prove coming in the next season? Is it the Seahawks? Nope. They proved this season. Is it the Patriots? Can they have another season? Their record this year was good, but they didn't really play anybody. I had this argument in this debate on the Patriots side. You can't blame them for being in a conference with the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills. The Bills are normally pretty good, but the Dolphins and Jets normally stink. You can't blame them for that. That's just who's in their conference. That's not their fault. So I don't think it's them. I think the biggest team to prove something next year is the New York Giants, and here is why. You got Jackson Dart. You got your quarterback. You got Cam Scattaboo, your running back. Got Malik Neighbors and a couple other wide receivers. You got a defense. You fired your head coach. You hired one of the better ones in Harbaugh. You better prove something. You're in a division with the Cowboys who are never good anymore since the 90s. Sorry, Jerry Jones. You got the Washington, I call them Redskins still. You got the Redskins with a bad defense. Jaden Daniels with some health issues, maybe. So, and you got the Eagles who haven't really figured out how to work their offense. So your division's kind of up in the air a little bit from top to bottom. So you've got what you need. I think the New York Giants next year have the most to prove in the NFL. You got your coach, you got your quarterback, you got your running back, you got a good wide receiver, and you got a good defense. Got all the pieces. You better prove it. You better go prove it, especially with the division you're in and the question marks that are always happening in Dallas because their defense is trash. The Redskins' defense is trash. The two worst defenses in the league this past season. You got the Eagles, who can't really unlock their offense. Yeah, do I see both teams' defenses being a little better? Possibly. They'll probably go. Jerry may not get anybody because we saw what he did last offseason. But I think the Redskins do get a little better on the defense and they draft well, I think. But you got question marks. You don't. You got your coach. You got your quarterback. You got your defense. You got your wide receiver. You got your running back. So you've got the most to prove, New York Giants and Mr. Harbaugh, Jackson Dart, and Cam Scatterboo. I think you guys have the most to prove. Let me know what you think. Who has the most to prove next season in the NFL? Now, enough about sports. To our positive thought. Kind of brought it up a little bit earlier, but I'm going to say this because I hated seeing it. I watched the halftime show live of Bad Bunny. I did watch Kid Rock's after the fact. But we've got to stop this hate. This racism, this race, all this hate on a guy from the Dominican, from Puerto Rico, which is now a U.S. territory, by the way. I'm not getting into all that, so don't come at me. But we've got to stop the hate. We got to love one another. We got to love everybody, no matter their skin color, no matter their race, no matter their nationality. We got to love one another, guys. And that takes us to our positive thought of the day. Just got to throw that in there before that. Life is too short to worry about everything. If you love it, hold on to it. If you miss it, find it. If you're upset, throw it in the ocean and let it go. Every second you doubt yourself is a moment wasted. Again, let me repeat it. If you love it, hold on to it. If you miss it, go find it. If you're upset, let it go. Throw it in the ocean. Every second you doubt yourself is a moment wasted. Don't doubt yourself. Don't waste moments. Don't waste time. Don't do things other people try to influence you to do or try to tell things you do unless you're their mentor. Unless they're like, for me, my mother. I listen to her a lot more than what I used to, even as an adult. Or if you have a mentor, listen to them. Do things you believe. Do things you feel you're called to do and feel like you want to do. Go for it. Strive for it. Don't waste moments worrying. And as always, never give up. Keep going. Keep thriving. And do not give up. Don't waste a moment doubting yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't doubt you. Go get it done. That takes us to our Bible verse. That comes from today, Matthew chapter 6. Wow, I almost said it backwards. Matthew chapter 6, verse 10. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The Lord's Prayer, part of it. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Don't do things because you want to do them. Don't do things because others want you to do them. Do them for the agenda of God and what He wants. So what you got to do there is seek God in all things that you do. Surrender yourself to Him and trust Him always. Again, your kingdom come, your will be done as earth as it is in heaven. Matthew 6, verse 10. Seek God in all things you do. Do things for His purpose, His agenda, not your own. Surrender everything to Him and always have faith in Him. I know this one was a little longer today, guys, but we had so much to recap in the sports world. Don't hate on each other this week. I'm tired of going on social media and seeing all this hate. Enjoy the warm weather coming this week. Get outside, take a walk, go for a run. If you're me, go for a bike ride. It's probably what I'm going to do later this week, as long as the road's not too wet. Go enjoy it, but don't hate. Just because someone doesn't agree with you doesn't mean you gotta hate them. We don't have to agree, but we can still love one another. So with that, thank you again for tuning in. We'll do another episode on Thursday of the KBR Show. And until then, love one another. Don't hate anybody. Enjoy this warmer weather coming. And as always, go Bucks. Thank you for tuning in.